Hey there, it's Angelo Caruso. Welcome back to The Leader in You. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to this channel and click that silver bell so that you're notified of all new videos. You know, last time we were together, we talked about why annual performance reviews are actually demotivating your team, and we made some suggestions for how to improve your situation. That was episode 7 of this playlist. And today, in episode 8, we're going to talk about why performance evaluation forms that are linked to money are not doing you any favors. Now, we call them forms, but it could be an online form, it could be a paper form, it doesn't matter. If your performance evaluation review is linked to money, you're not doing your team or yourself any favors. And the reason is, money does not motivate most employees. In fact, money does motivate if the employee needs to pay rent, buy food, and the necessities of life. But once that person achieves that stature, money ceases to motivate in the way it did initially. We know this is true. It's been very, very well documented. Even Elton Mayo, who is the founder of the modern day HR department, pointed this out decades and decades ago, that money ceases to be a motivator if the need has already been satisfied. So, I can show you 3 other reasons why money doesn't motivate. Let's say one of your employees comes to you and says, I'm really money motivated. If you just paid me more, I would work harder. I would get more done. We can test the theory very carefully. Tell that person that says they're money motivated that you have a way for them to double their income. They'll be extremely interested. They'll ask you how to do that. And of course, you can suggest that they get a second full-time job. They'll roll their eyes and scoff and say, don't be ridiculous, I'm not going to do that. And you'll say, why not? And they'll say, because I like to sleep, I like to have fun, I like to have a hobby, I have a family. And you'll say, well, apparently you like those other things more than you like money. And it's true. They are motivated by money, but they're motivated by all those other things a bit more than money. And therefore, money ranks a distant 5, 6, 7, 8 on their list. Another way to prove that money doesn't motivate is this idea of you having to arm wrestle people to work on Saturday morning, even though you're paying them more money, time and a half, double time in some cases, and you still can't get them to come in. It's because money doesn't motivate them as much as Saturday morning off motivates them. A third way that you can explain this to yourself, if you're still struggling to understand that money does not motivate most people, is that most people could actually make more money by working in a state like Alaska. It's the exact same job, but it's more money because everybody in Alaska has figured it out. They'd have to pay more money for you to relocate up there. And the truth of it is most people won't relocate unless you're going to pay them more for that job. Up in the upper frontier is what we call it. So what can we do about performance evaluation forms that are linked to money? Most performance evaluation forms have 2 sections. The 2 sections are the narrative section and the numerical section. And what happens is you have to spend less time on the numerical section if you're going to focus on this performance evaluation form that's linked to money. Because what happens is if you have to give employees all 6s as an exemplary and perfect rating, but you can't give everybody 6s because if you gave everybody 6s, you'd have to give them more money. So you end up giving them 5s instead of 6s, and that's a problem, right? But here's the bigger problem is that if you forsake the narrative section of the evaluation form, this is where you can really pay homage and pay tribute to your employees by saying things about them that no one has ever said before, by using positive adjectives to explain in a very succinct and deep way how you value this employee. You see, if you give them all 6s, you have to give them more money. But if you say that the amazing employee and that they perform in ways that nobody ever has before, or that you admire their deep dedication, right? You can now motivate them without having to give them the raise. Now what you're doing is appreciating them in ways that don't have to show up in their paycheck per se. Now, cynics will say that the narrative section should match the numerical section, and technically speaking, that's true. But by working the narrative section a bit more, and by downplaying the numerical section, which has all these pitfalls about how you pay people, I think that you can establish stronger bonds with your employees, you can keep them loyal, and you can establish a better relationship with your employees. So these are tips and techniques for building bonds with your employees that don't involve employee evaluation forms that are linked to money. Next time, on episode number 9, we're going to talk about how you can hire a consultant, because it turns out a lot of these people are better marketers than they are consultants, and you'll find that you have to have the exact right fit for your culture if you're going to bring somebody in. So we'll talk about that next time on episode 9 of The Leader in You. More information at michaelangelocaruso.com, where you can check out my blog. And of course, I'm alive and well on social media. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.